Hello and welcome to Series 4, Episode 2 of Recall the Midwife. I'm Alex.
I'm Becky.
I'm Jen. Just a quick reminder that this week's episode deals with infant mortality and traumatic birth. So if those topics are ones you would prefer to skip this time, we understand and hope you join us for the next one.
In this week's episode, we learn that Sister Evangelina is suffering from fibroids and must undergo a hysterectomy, which means a long period of convalescence. We welcome new midwife Phyllis Crane, whose no-nonsense attitude causes her to cross swords with Sister Evangelina. Barbara is back on midwifery duties, and she and Patsy face a difficult delivery when Abigail Bissett's baby is stillborn. Nonnatus House rallies behind them, and we then discover it's a case of undiagnosed twins. Sister Julienne continues to struggle with the maintenance and upkeep of Nonnatus House. When a benefactor comes forward, we meet Charles Newgarden, who is an important part of Sister Julienne's past. Trixie and Tom clash over wedding plans following their engagement, and we also meet Patsy's friend Delia. Okay, girls, should we get into it?
Can I just say, this week's a special episode.
Yes!
Me and Becky are actually together in real life. And we've gone to see Sister Act today. We're very on brand, people.
Yeah, it's a non-heavy day today.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 of the dream team are reunited, so this is an extra powerful
and it feels
episode.
So good. Yeah, but yeah, we're here, and also Becky, not Becky, you're Jen. Jen,
yes.
Becky, can you lift your hands up for Jen, please? Becky has turned in to
Mrs. Jenkins.
Mrs. Jenkins. She wears fingerless gloves all the time. I was like, Becky, what are those? Mrs. Jenkins.
Have you gone to the bathroom in public yet? That's the next step.
I did it outside Sister Act.
But I know why Mrs. Jenkins smells of wee now. It's because I keep going to the bathroom. Like, I wear these around the office as well. Like, I go to the toilets and then I'm like, oh, I've still got my fingerless gloves on. I need to leave these outside the bathroom.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit horrified. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. Becky is just further cementing her role as like literally the oldest woman alive that's just been time traveled here from like
she's
ages
also
past.
So we've got my daughter here and Becky's niece here, and they've been sewing together. And
oh, that is so cute.
It's been really cute. But also, how good was Sister Act?
Yeah, Sister. If anyone wants to go and see Sister Act the musical, I was dubious because I went to see Bodyguard the musical, and that was awful.
But can I just say that is not shared by everyone I've never seen it, but I don't want to be slagging off if people love it.
I didn't love it, but Sister Act the musical was amazing.
My 5-year-old got a little scared.
Yeah, she did.
She was the youngest there by far, wasn't she?
Also, we were sat up in the upper circle.
Oh, yeah.
She was literally like red-faced.
Well, yeah, all the heat rises when there's that many people in the theater together. Oh my goodness,
honestly, she's like a lizard. She gets it off her dad. In our house, like the aircon, it's absolutely freezing. I'm always freezing and wearing those jumpers, and those two are around in t-shirts.
Yeah, she's been like that ever since she was born. It's wild.
She really has.
Anyway,
should we do some Call The Midwife?
Call The Midwife.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, just a quick shout out. This is for me one of my favorite episodes ever in the series. It's definitely in a top 10 for me. I love this episode. Oh my god, I have so much to say about it. I cried so much in it. Oh man, so thought-provoking, so deep.
Well, Nurse Crane, Phyllis, is one of my favorite characters.
Phyllis. I love Nurse Crane.
And she gets off to a rocky start, I think.
Well, I feel like she's one of them characters that comes in to cause a ruckus. You know, when they're like, oh, and they're going to ruffle feathers. But actually, she's just a really amazing character. She's also one of my favourites.
Yeah.
But like at first, you're not sure. Like, you know, the first episode when you meet her, you're not sure if you're ever going to meet her, going to like her.
Yeah.
But obviously, we know now that we love her, so it's quite nice watching it back. But I remember watching it for the first time, not knowing if I was going to like her or not.
Yeah. We're talking about Sister Evangelina's storyline, because obviously she wasn't well in the last episode, and in this episode, also I didn't mention the synopsis. Sister Winifred is just living her best life, gadding around town on the bus.
Oh my goodness.
Being called annoying by the other nuns, and it really annoys me because she's just really lovely, and I hate the fact that they're all like, she's just got a really lovely sunny disposition. They're like, just because they're in a mood, like, ugh. It just annoys me.
Well, you know, yeah, I mean, unfortunately her personality in a few moments was not really kind of the ideal, but yes, I get what you're
But
saying.
she was also not given information. We'll talk about that in a minute.
She was kept in the dark.
Yeah.
So
well, wait, Bex, you kind of give us some structure here. So
so Sister Evangelina. So the episode opens with Sister Evangelina coming back from the hospital with Sister Winifred.
Yeah.
Find out she's got fibroids, so it means she's going to have a hysterectomy, which she's reluctant to do because it means a long period of convalescence. But she's going to go to the hospital near Chichester, so that she can recuperate at the mother's house. Now, I did write down when she talks about having a hysterectomy, she describes it as an old pocket in an apron I'll never use.
I know.
That made me feel sick. That made me feel sick. I actually share something with Sister Evangelina here because I too have fibroids. But I don't need history. Well, to be honest, I don't bloody know if I need one or not. I'm still waiting about 7 months down the line for an appointment. But yeah, so they are painful. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Sister Evangelina.
Yeah, well, she's getting seen to in Chichester.
Yeah, she is.
But yeah, I mean, I feel for her. I mean, she's definitely someone who does not, she's an incredible caregiver, but she does not know how to be a patient, and that is really clear. And she's not even at the part where she actually is a patient yet. She hasn't even gotten there. So, I mean, even the lead up, you can tell she's like really, really struggling.
And I wonder if that's why she clashes with Nurse Crane, because Nurse Crane comes in and she's very I mentioned that she's no nonsense, like she's organizing the midwives. I wonder if Sister Evangelina feels a bit, if she's going to have to go away for a period of time, she feels threatened because Nurse Crane is easy. I mean, they're very similar.
Yeah. Well, she'll feel pushed out. Yeah.
I mean, I think you're exactly right. It's the case of like, the reason you clash is because you're too alike. They both occupy in many ways very much the similar space, and I think they both kind of get their backup when they confront each other because they both supremely think they know what's best, and in many ways they both do, but they just that clash is really real. But
I love the bit where she literally drew a line down the room with Barbara.
I've got half the room lols. And also Barbara and her, like, spoiler alert, they end up becoming really good friends. But when she first meets Barbara's like, hello, and she was like, hello. Like, where we said good afternoon or good morning. She's like, oh, sorry, good morning or afternoon, whatever. And she's like, I thought she was going to put her teeth in the glass next to the bed.
Yeah. Well, Nurse Crane does not do a good job of kind of ingratiating herself, but I mean, the thing is, she is kind of a bit of a stiff, formal person in some ways, and she also, I mean, we learn this when she sits down to lunch with the nuns that like she's been moving around to lots of different jobs, just a temporary basis for a long time, so she never really feels that she settles in kind of anywhere permanently. And so I think she feels like, okay, I'm here to do a job, I'm not here to make friends, like I'm just gonna kind of be who I am, say what I'm gonna say, and then that's it. And so I think that's why she doesn't necessarily feel like she has to make that much effort.
What does she introduce to the Nonnatus House that they haven't had before?
Do you want to answer back, so do you want me to?
A vegetarian?
No.
The Rolodex.
The Rolodex.
I saw that in real life, the panic in her eyes.
She goes on about being a vegetarian. Maybe that's what she's introduced.
But also, I really like there's a bit where she was like, I go to each practice and I try to move forward with the best bits from each practice to help. And I thought
that's
Sister Evangelina would love that. Like that, surely, but she's just so against her because she's obviously doesn't want to leave and is a bit nervous and all this. But then, she stays on permanently, and that's exciting. I cheered.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's worked with nuns before.
Yeah, that must be a first.
But that's not what I mean, though. It can't be easy. I just mean because there's such an age gap between her and the other midwives.
Yeah, well, to be fair, if anything, the midwives are nearer. The nuns are nearer her age.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And she's unmarried, and in those days that probably meant, well, we know actually, didn't we? She wasn't.
What?
Well, they spoke about she had a night with a pilot, didn't they?
Well, not this episode. Not this episode.
I know, but I'm not doing it.
I'm like, oh my God, I've missed so much.
Sorry.
No.
Let's
Well,
spend
we'll
the night with the pilot.
But it wasn't said in this episode. I was about to say she's probably got quite a lot in common with the nuns because she's never known the touch of a man. But
oh
but she has. So, scrap that from the record.
no, Nurse Crane has some vibes. Like we'll talk about her.
No, but what I was trying to say was she's around the same age as them. Like she's not a Christian or whatever, but she does have like ethics and morals. She's a vegetarian. And then I was also going to say, she's unmarried and stuff, but she also had never, had a dalliance, but she has. So ignore that bit.
Okay. Well, so should we move on from Nurse Crane and
so let's talk about Abigail Bissett, because obviously that's the main delivery we've got in this episode.
Yeah.
And
this one. Oh.
Well, hang on. Can we talk about the actual good bits of it first? So when Terence, her husband's on the bus, he's a bus driver, and she was running, like she's the size of a bus, running after him with his sandwiches. And he was like, I can just go and buy a pie or something. Like, she's like, you will not be doing that.
I don't think she wasn't the size for someone with undiagnosed twins. She had a very petite bum.
What?
It was the size of a house.
Oh, I thought the opposite. Like the scene where he comes in and she's struggling to get up out of the chair, and he's like going to help her, and she's like, no, the minute I can't get out of a chair on my own is the minute, something or whatever.
And then he tries to dance with her, and she's like got basically a
doll's house up her dress. They're like 2 feet apart from each other. You know what I mean?
They were massive.
Like, yeah. In fact, I even said, I'm like, I hadn't seen this episode in a long time, and I was like, that is not a single baby in there. Like something's up. And I had kind of vaguely remembered that there was something with this pregnancy, so I was kind of waiting for that. But no, I thought she looked absolutely huge. But on a happier note, I will just say, to me, this is one of the couples where they're so genuinely cute, so genuinely in love, so genuinely like happy people. It was like they were just a ray of sunshine, and I really, really enjoyed that about them. Now they have some very sad stuff that's gonna happen.
And then something terrible happened to them.
Well, oh my God, yeah, really. But before that, they were just the sweetest, loveliest,
So we should probably give a bit more of the backstory to this. So Abigail is being treated by Barbara.
Yeah, she's just the midwife that
she searched for a heartbeat and couldn't find one, could she?
Well, no, we've gone ahead of ourselves, because Abigail is concerned because she feels a difference in movement, which we later find out is because one of the twins has died.
Yes.
Yeah. But also Barbara listened and couldn't hear a heartbeat.
Well,
that's why she sent her to the hospital.
So then she's admitted to hospital, which she doesn't like to be away from her husband. She goes wandering the halls at night and witnesses a woman who's had an abortion.
Coming in because she's had an abortion, and there's a police officer with her, and she says, I didn't do anything wrong. And then, that's a very messy scene. She's wandering the halls because she has to go to the bathroom. She doesn't want to use a bedpan. And the nurse tells her, no, like, I'll bring you a bedpan, like, stay in your bed. And so she doesn't obey that. And so she goes out, and she's on the hallway, and then there's a woman who's coming in, really gruesome. And she has there's an officer with her. And, the
nurse is really stern with her as well, like, get back to bed. And she's like,
Which actually, I mean, it was harsh, but I kind of got it. Like, if the nurse was trying to.
Well, Mrs. Bissett didn't get it, Jen. Mrs. Bissett didn't.
No, yeah, I get it. I mean, but the sad thing is that then, like, that prompted her to, like, leave the hospital, basically. And she just walked home, and she ended up back at her house in the middle of the night.
And how long did it take for Mr. Bissett to wake up, considering the front door was like feet from his door was wide open, and the front door was like 6 feet from his head, and she was still banging, and then they showed him like stirring.
Oh, for me, it was like, that makes. I mean, he was fast asleep. It was like 3 a.m.
He's tired.
Yeah, I didn't think it was unreasonable for her to like start banging and him to take like a couple of seconds to get to the door. Like I wouldn't have gone there faster. But so anyway, so the doctor and then the midwives come the following day, and they say, well, you wanted to be delivered at the hospital, like, and she's like, well, I don't feel safe there. And they're like, well, where do you feel safe? And she says, I feel safe here at home. And so they say, okay. And they tried to talk her into a maternity home delivery, but she wasn't having any of that. So when it's her time, they decide to help her deliver at home, and it's Patsy and Barbara. And she has a washing machine, which they all are very proud of. And when it's her time to deliver, when she goes into labor, Patsy and Barbara go to her side and they deliver her baby, a little girl, and she's a stillborn baby, which, oh my God, that was so sad. Like that was when the tears really, really started flowing for me.
What was really bad about that to me was, like, obviously it was absolutely horrific, and poor Barbara, it was just awful.
Oh, it was sad for everyone.
Yeah, but then they got the dad to ring the Nonnatus House. And I was a bit like, well, they just told him that his baby's died, and then they're like, ring the Nonnatus House, tell him there's a stillbirth.
That they just kind of take with the what word?
Swept away? Whisked?
Sweep the baby away.
Yeah.
Like whisk the baby away.
Yes.
And so like she doesn't even see her own daughter. And I just think,
well, yeah, she doesn't. I mean, the thing is the baby is still in the apartment for a while. They don't take the baby away right away, but yes, neither of the parents really got to be with her or anything like that.
Also the panic on so when they have to break it to Mrs. Bissett that the baby's been stillborn, and she says, but we heard the heartbeat today, like Nurse Gilbert heard the heartbeat. The panic that must have swept over Barbara when she was like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But she did hear the heartbeat. She
was right. Yeah, she was right. So this is what kind of is like a wild twist to the story, is that, you know, immediately Terrence and Abigail are so upset, understandably, because they've lost their little girl. And then the doctor comes and Patsy and Barbara are still there. And Terrence makes the call to Nonnatus House, and Sister Evangelina, in her, you know, vigor, sees that also Nurse Crane is going as well, and then she says, well, she's not going to know what to do, she won't be compassionate or anything like that, so I'm going to go too. So now you have this whole group of people there. By the time Dr. Turner gets there, they think they're waiting for the placenta to come, but then they start realizing, oh no, she's having actual contractions again. And Dr. Turner like puts his listening device to her tummy, and he does hear that second heartbeat. And that's when he's like, oh my gosh, no, you're going to have another baby. Like, you know, your little girl, you know, died in the womb a few days ago, and this other little one is still in there, still okay. So now we have to deliver the baby. It actually turns out to be a boy. And oh my God, I mean, you can just tell everyone is on an absolute roller coaster at this point.
Well, also she's like, no. And like, if someone told me I was having another baby after having the other one I had, I'd be like, nah, mate.
well, I memean, undiagnosed twins, I mean, I have to think that was so common back then. I mean, we've already seen it on the show where people are like really surprised. I mean, you know, just multiple.
Well, my father-in-law's a twin, and his mum had no idea she was having twins.
Yeah.
So literally, he came out first, and then his sister was born, and they had no idea. What? Exactly the same.
What?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Can I just say about the baby, the newborn boy, Terrence Jr.? He was the most realistic newborn in size yet that I've seen out of all the kids on this show.
Yes, but he was born completely dried off. Like he had no gook all over him. He was supposed to be covered in gook. I literally, like, his hair was dry. I literally said to my mom when he came out, I was like, that is the driest baby I have ever seen on this show. Like, normally they're all like slimy and covered in goop and everything like that, but this baby was like totally perfect. It was like,
I feel like series 4, they've dropped it a bit here. They've been like, oh, do you know what? Just clean babies, can't be bothered with all that. The makeup department are like, we've got too many midwives to be doing now.
Yeah, because last week it was like 3-month-old babies.
Yeah.
To their
yeah, but they're also just like sprayed with water. They have no gunk on them.
Well, and in future episodes, there's like a whole run of babies in some of the future seasons where, like, literally every time they do like the push where the baby comes out, just like a huge gush of like red liquid comes as well. And I'm like, and it's like so consistent. It's really disgusting. I'm like, why do you have to do that? You know, it's like I definitely think there are different directors or different who know what that are like putting their input and asking for different, you know, kind of stylistic choices or whatever. But
well, anyway, back to the Bissetts. So the dad,
so
was a really moving scene. He was like, you know, I thought I was having one baby and I've got one baby.
Yeah.
And he was like, I want to be glad, but I don't know how. Now, Dr. Turner's advice here was like, let him hold your finger and let him know you're here. So no advice at all then, Dr. Turner.
well, okay. Yes, I agree. But like I think what he's asking for is to like urge the connection with the baby that's there. I mean, what advice do you
Don't
think?
defend Dr. Turner.
What? Okay, then what advice do you think you should have given him?
Go to counselling.
Oh yeah, here, I'll give you a number to ring. Make sure you get on that, okay, son? That's really helpful. Yeah, great criticism, okay?
Well, I feel bad for Abigail Bissett because she feels really guilty, and so she like, how can she be a mother if she didn't even know she was expecting twins? And but she did know something wasn't right because she knew this.
The movement has started.
Yeah. So I'm like, don't beat yourself up.
Yeah, definitely.
I've sounded very glib there.
No, but it's true though. She shouldn't.
Well, yes. I mean, I think the thing is, and this is where like Tom gets involved, and when the nurses come back to kind of visit them and say, we're here to visit you twice a week and everything. We kind of want to find out how you're doing, and Terrence, the husband, says, like, we're all just crying so much, and like him most of all, and he points to the baby, and I think just everyone has this really just unbelievable sadness that they really don't know how to cope with or process. And to you guys' point, like, since they didn't really get a chance to kind of connect with their daughter, then Tom gets involved, and he goes to Sister Julienne and says, how are we gonna kind of do something for this family so that they can have some kind of experience where they can, deal with, process, kind of find a way to, it's not closure in the way that it's over, but closure in the way that there's
they can't have a funeral, can they? Properly, because the baby hasn't had a breath.
Well, the baby couldn't be baptized because it didn't have a breath.
Yeah.
The funeral is a separate thing. But they need something to kind of mark this event so that they can, have an opportunity to kind of deal with it. And that's when they kind of come up with this idea of a service, basically. And this was really sweet because Sister Winifred and Sister Monica Joan go to Mrs. Bissett, and they help her finish the set of booties that she was going to make for the baby, because she always wants her kids' feet to be warm because England is such a cold country.
He's not had warm feet since she got there.
Yeah, because we didn't mention this, but they're a Black family from Jamaica originally, which is the other kind of layer to their story. But then so they finished the pair of booties, and then they, with them to Terrence Jr., all of the midwives, and Tom, they go to Nonnatus House into the chapel, and they have a little ceremony basically where, it's really beautiful. Tom talks, and he kind of, says how they're gonna, both honor the baby that they lost, who they name April because that's the month that she was born, and then they're also gonna say goodbye to her. And
it was beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not, again, this is a criticism. Did you see in Compline there was extra nuns?
Yes.
Oh my God,
where were they for that funeral? Like, you're all right going to Compline, but you won't support a young family at a funeral for a dead baby.
You were obsessed with these nuns. You were like,
they're always so short-staffed.
They're always so short-staffed, and they're just coming out of Compline. Also, can I just say, we haven't actually spoken about the fact that at the birth, it was Evangelina versus Nurse Crane as well.
Yeah.
That's kind of where they resolved that issue, because they were both thinking each other was a bit too much. And then Nurse Crane got there, and then Sister Evangelina found out that Nurse Crane was there. She's like, I've got to go and save that poor family from them, because she'll just be there bursting in. And anyway, when she got there, Nurse Crane was giving a well-sugared tea to the dad and was really calm and cool. And Sister Evangelina and Nurse Crane absolutely saw each other in each other. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's where they resolved everything, and it was actually a really moving scene in itself.
Yeah.
So, but also when you said about Tom going to Sister Julienne and saying, like, what can we do for this family? He just turned up at Nonnatus House, rifled through the post.
Yeah.
If that was me, you pick up the post and you just put it on the side. You don't see who's got what.
Oh, there's one for you here.
You girls. Oh my goodness, so nitpicky today. Gee whiz.
Well, as soon as he did it, I thought, oh, what a cheek.
No, I did. We have more standards here in England, obviously.
But
that's definitely the reason, not anything else. Okay, yes.
So should we talk about Sister Julienne's storyline next?
Oh yes,
I was loving a garden. How good was a garden in central London? I didn't even know they had all that.
She did great. Yeah. We've seen that garden before. They go to the back garden a good bit, actually.
Yeah, but it's never from that angle. I just loved all the potted plants and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So someone's stolen all the lead off the roof of the house. Of Nonnatus House. There's a leak. I will say, when I bought my house, someone had also stolen the lead off my house.
Really?
Yeah. So it's still going on today.
So
Yeah,
people
well, scrap merchants. They take.
Okay, how do you even do that without people catching you?
Well,
do it in the dead of night.
No, she doesn't mean the stealing. She means getting money for it.
Oh, at the scrapyard.
Yeah.
No. I get that. How do you climb up to people's roofs?
Oh no, she did mean that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did mean that. How do you, that seems like the.
Is this empty? This house?
No.
Oh well, yeah, just in dead of night, cheeky buggers.
Oh my god, that seems like a really hard crime to commit.
Also, they're always stealing lead off churches, and I just think you're gambling there, aren't you?
Oh, that's terrible. Well, any crime committed in a church, you just think like, wow, you just really must want to like go straight to hell. But basically, yeah. So Nonnatus House.
Though, actually, if you're going to steal from anyone, who will forgive you the most?
Yeah. Just like no.
Let's just not have anyone commit any crimes, okay? Let's just like take that as our
lesson. Not advocating crime. I'm just saying.
So we think it's a mystery benefactor who's come forward, but it's not, because
it's not.
It's an old flame of Sister Julienne's.
This really annoyed me though, because Winifred's there like talking on the bus, la 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 la, and obviously Sister Julienne's like nervous about seeing this guy she stood up in 1932, right?
Yeah.
But instead of saying to Sister Winifred, by the way, it's a bit of a delicate one. I knew him in the past. Do you know what I mean? She just lets Sister Winifred like carry on and like doesn't tell her a thing. So she just is really ignorant, and it's just really annoying. It really annoyed me. Just tell her. Just give her a heads up.
Okay, I'm gonna give a bit of a rebuttal, okay? Because you brought this point up, and I get it. I do get it. But Sister Evangelina says to Winifred on the bus, she's like, "Yeah, I did get my diagnosis, but I really don't want the whole bus to know. Can you just like wait until we get off, and then I'll like talk to you about it?" And I feel like when they get to Mr. Newgarden's house or whatever, Sister Winifred is like, "Oh, la 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 la," she's just sitting there, and like. Okay, now Jenny.
Hang on, she could have told her in Nonnatus House, not the bus.
No, I know, but this is what I'm saying. Like, Sister Winifred might need to kind of like read the room a little bit better, because even when they get to the parlor, there's clearly some tension between Sister Julienne and Mr. Newgarden.
Yeah.
And Sister Winifred is completely oblivious. And I even wrote in my notes, I was like, read the room. Like, to me, when he says to her, like,
Sister Julienne should have told her before they even went.
And also, as somebody who never reads the room properly, I have sympathy with Sister Winifred here.
Yeah, I get. I mean, I see it both ways. I guess what I just found frustrating in terms of Winifred in this one was like Mr. Newgarden says like, "Oh, we'd really like some biscuits," and she's like, "Oh yeah, I would." And then he's like, "Yeah, can you go get them?" And she's like, "Oh well, and then he's like, "Yeah, just go down there, please. Like, ask her to make me like cinnamon toast. Like, I want you out of here for at least like 5 or 10 minutes." And then she's just like, "Okay, great, bye." And then she like skips off, and then they have this really intense thing which we'll discuss. But then she like literally bursts back in, and she's like, "Oh, you made this so nice. Like, she said she's gonna make scones," and just like flops right back down. And it's like, honey,
yeah, but again, if she'd had a bit of forewarning,
yeah, she could have given them time. I'd have been gutted if I was Sister Winifred and someone was about to make me drop scones, and then we abruptly had to leave.
I'm going to solemnly vow that if anyone offers you drop scones, I'm never going to make you leave somewhere.
I get your point, and I do get it, but just to play the devil's advocate, like, part of her job is reading people and reading situations and like understanding like subtle cues and context and things like that. So she shouldn't have to have every single thing spelled out for her all the time. Is all I'll say about it.
Disagree. But... Speaking of context, just to say, Charles Newgarden was an old flame of Louise's, who's Sister Julienne, and they basically he asked her out on a date, and he had all sorts of intentions.
Oh, more than a date. They were like dating. They were in love way back. But they were like together.
But I think this was maybe like a make or break thing. And he invited her on a date to the cinema, and she didn't turn up. And obviously, then she'd sent him a letter being like, I'm gone off to be a nun. Ciao. And he went on to have a lovely life and a wife with. He's got 3 children, and it was just, he went on to have a nice life. But obviously, there was just a feeling of, he's dying as well.
But also, he asked Sister Julienne.
Oh, he's dying as well.
That's why he
I was
wanted
about to carry on, and then Becky got in.
Worst way to have given that.
for that like outburst.
Oh my God, Al, you literally couldn't.
It wouldn't make sense.
I know why you're so passionate about Sister Winifred, that because you were her this week. Apparently, you were just like, "Oh yeah, he was dying." Anyways,
Because I was about to say something else. Carry on.
What were you going to say?
Well, it doesn't matter now, does it? Because you rudely interrupted.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that. Oh yeah, so he asked Sister Julienne if she kept a memento, and she was like, "Well, that wouldn't be appropriate in my line of work." But she did. She had a photo tucked into her Bible.
So not only did she not inform Winifred, she's a liar.
Well, he says to her, so here, okay, so listen, girls, I completely let my imagination run wild when I watched this. And like they say, oh, we were family friends, we knew each other like our whole childhoods and everything. And then I thought in my mind, the way that they said it and the way that they acted it, which by the way, absolutely unbelievably, oh my goodness, gorgeous acting by Sister Julienne and the guy who played Mr. Newgarden. Like they were just so good together. They had such great chemistry together, I thought.
They really did.
But you could tell that like they'd spent like however long, like actually like they were old enough, they started dating, they fell in love. And then, he says, he's like, I could tell that you were kind of going this way, like towards religious life. And I didn't, I could see it happening, but I didn't, want you to go that way. I loved you and everything. And I think that they made a date, and Louise, Sister Julienne, was like, we're getting to a point where probably something serious is going to happen with us, and I don't want to have to say no, which is why she stood him up, like for that date to go see the Charlie Chaplin movie. And then she sent him,
though, isn't it, to stand him up?
Yeah, but she did send him a letter.
She did send him a letter, and she said, and he was like
the equivalent of a text now.
Yeah, really. And then he like kept that letter like his whole life. He even says to her, he's like, I kept it and I read it many times, and like I appreciated that you kind of explained everything to me and stuff, and I knew it was going that way, but then you told me. Well, yeah, I mean, it was, it's all they had, really. And
well, I'll tell you what I really like. So they left there, and Sister Winifred's like, "Why are we leaving?" And she's like, "I'm still not going to tell you anything."
Well, they're both like literally have tears in their eyes, crying, and she's like, "Oh, is something wrong? Like, what happened?"
I know they knew each other before. Like, she could have said anyway.
Whatever.
So anyway, I really like the way that Sister Julienne went to Sheila.
I like that she turned.
Sheila has left the religious. Like, she's experienced romantic love now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she went to someone who understood both sides of her life.
Mm-hmm.
I just really appreciated that. And then they went back, didn't they?
Well, it was a beautiful conversation about faith, and also like the life that you don't know, that you'll never know because you didn't choose it, the unlived life, and how that can really kind of do a number on you. And that to me was just a very beautiful scene between those two women. I really love that. But clearly Sister Julienne feels like there's unfinished business, so she goes back and sees him again, and they have a really wonderful conversation. And then I thought that maybe kind of was the end of it, but then Anthony, his son, calls her and says, "Oh, Dad would really like to have a matinee like movie date with you." And she walks in, and it's City Lights, the movie they were going to see when she stood him up, on a projector, 2 chairs, set up in front. He's put a cushion in her chair so she can have the best seat in the house. They have chalk ices, which, as we know now from previous episodes, are beautiful ice cream with chocolate wrapped around, which is like so delicious. And they watch this movie, and when I tell you, I mean, that was one of the most romantic scenes the romance was just so real. And
but not even just that.
God,
not even just that.
It.
Like, Sister Julienne has got a vow of poverty. She does not have that in her life. She's so overworked. This was absolute luxury for her as well. Like, she never goes to the cinema. She never takes time for herself to do anything like this. So even on the flip side of that, like, it's an actual part of normality that she never ever has, because she chose that religious life. And then also, I just really love that even though he was successful at all this and had a life away from her, I really love that his money was used to help, like, Louise's actual life carrying forward. I really like that actually in the end he did have an influence on her life, and it was a positive one insofar as he was helping her religious life.
Yeah. I mean, the layers of complexity that storyline achieved, and with the talent of those 2 actors, to me was I mean, it's as deep as you can go. I mean, I just they were just so beautiful together, and I mean, and the thing is to have written it so compassionately. I mean, like not a lot of people would have that much love and affection for somebody that they really loved after they'd been dumped and not seen them for that long, you know? And like the fact that they both say, you know, like we could have had a beautiful life together, but we both had beautiful lives apart, but we still have love and affection for each other.
And for him still to have a positive influence on hers afterwards, like I just think it was really nice.
But also, I think it just showed how well matched they were. That he, in being a benefactor, like he's still thinking of it, and but also that's not the only. Nonnatus House isn't the only kind of charitable organisation that he's helping.
So he was a really kind, good man.
Yeah, he says I could have just written a check like I did for, you know, so and so, like other people he's, you know, kind of donated to, but he's like, I wanted to see you, you know, I wanted to kind of, you know, have a chance to, you know, connect with you and everything. And
then going back to the letter, what did the letter tell Sister Julienne that Tom so rudely?
Well, he asks how she wants to learn the news, and she says the old-fashioned way. She just wants to receive a letter, and the letter which Tom rifled through the post to find, with the neatest handwriting.
Yeah, it was good. It was lovely handwriting.
Was to inform that Charles had passed away.
Yeah.
So it was very sad.
Oh man, I was for like literally the second half of the show, I was just an absolute mess. I mean, I could cry right now thinking about it. My God, it was, oh man, so heartbreaking. So
should we talk about Trixie and Tom next?
Yeah, yes, let's do it.
So Trixie at clinic is showing off her engagement ring.
Yep.
And spoiler alert, in very future episodes, Trixie's going to get a lot of grief over the fact that they say she turned her nose up because it was a secondhand ring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. Because this week she makes a whole point about how she does think it's really nice.
And that's why I think this is unfair on Trixie, because she is admiring the ring, but it's somebody else who comments that it's secondhand.
Yeah, one of the mums who's like, "Oh, secondhand."
Yeah, and I'm like, well, it's not secondhand when it's like a family heirloom that like your beautiful fiance has given you because of, you know what I mean? Like, come on now.
Yeah, so I think this is, I mean, we're talking way ahead, and I'll touch on this point again.
Yeah,
in about
8 series time.
Yeah, just like quick aside though, I feel like the moms were like all really like bitchy this week. You know what I mean? Like when Sister Winifred was doing that class where she was talking about you know, washing diapers and stuff like that, all the moms were like, "Oh, look at you have a washer dryer. Oh, look at you," like da-da-da-da. Like they were all just so like rude. And
to be
like,
fair, I think they were like that a lot.
Like,
that's basically Londoners. Every single Londoner listening. That's you. I'm joking.
No, I just felt like I just was like, oh my God, you're ladies, gee whiz. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, I just felt like they were just really taking the knives out this week with that.
But yeah, Tom and Trixie. I mean, Trixie's planning an engagement party at Claridge's. It just reinforces how unsuited Trixie and Tom.
Well, hang on, not everyone else is going to be aware of what Claridge's is.
Oh.
Yeah,
because not everyone. Yeah. Not everyone knows about Claridge's.
Everyone knows what Claridge's are. Oh my goodness,
I just have to say, I've never been to Claridge's, but I know it's.
I have been to Claridge's.
I
went for afternoon tea at Claridge's.
We've been to the Brits for afternoon tea, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
Been there a few times.
My granddad used to work at the Claridge's. He used to do silver service, waiting on, yeah.
Yeah. So I think the Ritz is a good comparison. So for Americans, like Ritz or like Bergdorf Goodman, or you know, like a really super ultra deluxe, not even Macy's. Macy's is like way too like normal.
But it's also historically like really big over here, like the Savoy and.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like the Ritz in New York City would be, or like the Waldorf Astoria would be like an equivalent, you know, like super fancy, super nice. Well, the Waldorf is a hotel, not a department store, but and the Ritz is more of a hotel, but you get what I'm saying. Like it's a like deluxe department store. So
yeah, but so for her to be inquiring about an engagement party at Claridge's is just,
and it's also so far removed from their world.
yeah. Well,
especially
like
Tom's.
Yeah, and like, how are you going to pay for it? I mean, Trixie, we find out, has a rich aunt. I don't know that it's been revealed explicitly yet, but I mean, it's like, who's going to pay for that? You know, like, I don't know where they think they're going to get the money anyway. But the thing is, then they even start fighting over like having a photographer and like registering for like China and stuff like that. So it's like, even if they do a more quote like normal wedding, like they're still just like 100% not on the same page.
Well, he's just like, I don't understand what this is, like a professional fiance. I don't want to marry this professional fiance that I've got going on here. And she's like, Tom, there's certain things that have to be done.
She's like the original bridezilla, isn't she?
Yeah.
She is, but I will give her this. She makes a good point. She's like, look, you and I care about other people all day long. Like, I think it's appropriate for us to spend some time caring about ourselves. And that to me is a good point. I mean,
that is true. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be like Claridge's and ridiculous china that people can't afford to give them.
In her defense, though, like this is the one time. Well, we think it's gonna be.
Yeah. Like the point is, like when you get married, it is one of the few times in your life where you really do get to kind of splash out, like treat yourself, like go a little bit like more in terms of that luxury experience, because it is an extremely special occasion. And I mean, hopefully, most likely you would do it once. And so it's meant to be really special, kind of a once in a lifetime type of experience for most people. So
yeah, but she's also marrying a really poor curate who doesn't care about any of that worldly stuff. Like, it's the fact that she's asking for these plates that she knows he doesn't care about.
I totally agree with you. The problem is this is a classic reason why they are just very unsuited. They're from two different worlds. They don't go together. They are not gonna go together. And like, it's not unfair of her to ask for those things. It's not unfair of him to not care or want those things. They are not suited as a couple. And so like, they're gonna have a painful, like, hard stop when they realize that. But like, yeah, oh my god, like this is just a car crash waiting to happen.
Merit mark to who walks in when Trixie and Tom are having a big argument.
Yeah,
it's Nurse Busby and Patsy.
Oh,
I love them.
They are amazing. And actually, so just a quick aside, so Patsy becomes the new Akela for the Cubs, and she's doing some like courses with the Cubs, and she invites her quote good friend to come
doing air quotes here, everyone.
Yeah, exactly, because her friend Nurse Busby is a paramedic basically, and they're gonna do like a thing on like the burning yourself, and the boys are like, well, wait, I thought we were supposed to learn how to build a campfire, and Patsy's like, I think you'll find that the two things go together quite well. And so they do that, but then we kind of see that Patsy and I can't remember her first name. Delia are like really close, and they have fish and chips after that, Cubs meeting, and then that's when they walk in on Trixie and Tom. And then we didn't say it at the time, but when the Biset's baby is stillborn and Patsy's really upset about it, she goes to Delia and has a really emotional moment, and they comfort each other, and then they sleep in the same bed, like companionably, not that way, but we don't know
it's that way.
Well, they both have their clothes on. They wake up in the morning with their full clothes on. Like, I don't think anything happened, but the thing they say is like, oh, like it's early enough for me to leave and no one will see. So clearly there's some implication that if someone did see, it would be an issue. So there's we kind of get the feeling of like what the vibe is there, but yeah. So that's a couple that is actually very well suited for each other.
I've just got on my notes, Cubs lol.
The Cubs are very cute. They are very cute.
Also, I really loved back to Trixie a second.
Yeah.
Well, also back to Trixie in a second anyway. But I really loved how her and Patsy were having scotch, and they got Tizer for Barbara.
I know, because they know that Barbara is such a square. Yeah.
But then in the end, so they have a simple engagement party in the end, don't they?
Yeah.
Not at Claridge's.
Right. Nonnatus House.
Yeah, the cake looked so good though.
You said that.
Obviously.
You did say that.
Mm-hmm. I love those like classic old-fashioned frosted cakes. They're so delicious.
And I was a bit like, oh, I didn't think it looked that. And Bex was like,
Ooh,
Salivating, yeah.
Oh no! Oh my God, I wanted a piece of that cake so bad. Yes, I would be here for that. That was such a cute little party they had.
So, Jen, you got a game for us, haven't you?
I do. So do we think we've covered it all? Is that it? I think we've covered it all. Okay.
I think
all
we've
right,
absolutely done a great job of covering it all.
Okay. Well, so I made a game. I hope you enjoyed this game. Okay. I think one thing I realized with my game that I made ages ago now, the Love Island game, is that I love like games in the style of like really bright color tabloid magazines. That's really my speed. Okay, so here's my game. So I started to think about how Trixie and Tom are together on the show, and then Helen George and whatever that man's name is are together and married in real life. And I was like, oh, I want to make a game out of that. And so I blah 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 blah. Don't need to go in my whole long process, but point of it is that I thought, well, let me do a game about people who met in movies, like actors who met in movies, and then they got together in real life. And wouldn't that be fun? So here's the, I don't have a fun name for it. I didn't think of one in time, but so here I'm going to give you guys a clue about who I'm talking about, and then you tell me who the celebrities are.
I think we're going to ace this.
I think you will.
Jack Ashton. His name's Jack Ashton, by the way.
Jack Ashton. Right. I will say I tried to pick people, and I know our listeners love to play along as well, so I tried to pick kind of international superstars, and some maybe more Americans would know than Brits, and then we'll just hope anyways, but like inclusive for everyone game. Okay, here we go.
We're ready.
Also with our age range, I thought, these are all appropriate for our times of life. Okay. First one. They met on the set of Gigli, but didn't go public with their relationship until months after filming ended, and she finalized her divorce.
Gigli?
What, Gigli?
Okay, here's a hint. These two rekindled their relationship years later after both
Gigi. Was it not Gigi?
No, it wasn't Gigi. After both had families with other people and actually followed through and got married.
J-Lo and Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Yes, it was pronounced
Bennifer.
Bennifer, yes, exactly. Bennifer 2.0 when they finally got together, actually, yes.
And a lot of people, when they got back together, were like, this is a recipe for disaster. And I've
always called it Gigli.
Oh.
It was pronounced Gigli over here. But yes,
I'm sure it was here, Jen. I'm wrong, is the point.
I thought it was a recipe for disaster. I'm still not entirely convinced. I know they've gotten married.
They're 100% headed for divorce. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah. I mean,
Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, if you're listening, because I'm sure you will be, everyone will be, and people will play it to them, because obviously, if they're not listening, you're just not suited. Carry on, next one. And that's to both of them. Carry on, next one as well.
Yeah, exactly. We wish them luck, but okay. All right. These two are Hollywood royalty and met in the early 80s, but are famous for an amnesiac rom-com they made where they fall head over heels for each other. She has also a not almost famous daughter from a previous relationship.
This is Goldie Hawn.
Yes! Russell. It's very good.
In my head, I was like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, and every clue was not them.
I love the film Overboard.
Oh my God, it is one of my top favorite movies. It is so
also
perfect.
They're in Christmas Chronicles as Father Christmas.
Yeah,
and
they
Christmas.
are.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, but yes, I saw.
Oh my God, it's really good. You need to watch it.
Yeah, okay, I will.
In March.
Carry on. Okay, a little younger. Okay. These two stepped up and stepped out together after making this classic early aughts romance. You could say he brought a lot of magic to the relationship.
Is it Channing Tatum and Jenna Tatum?
Yes, very good.
They're now divorced.
Good.
Yeah,
they're now divorced. Yeah,
Sadly.
and a lot of these couples are not still together. But
do you know who he goes out with now?
Oh, Jessie J.
Oh. No, they
no.
broke up. She's having a baby with someone else.
Yeah, no, they split up ages ago.
Now then,
Zoe Kravitz.
Yes, I heard that. That. Okay, sorry, I was a relationship behind on him. Okay, I love Channing Tatum. By the way, he's also the star of one of my, and you guys both know this.
He's one of my
Absolute all-time favorite movies. She's the Man, Amanda Bynes. It's a take on 12th Night. I freaking love it. I've watched it 8,000 times.
love it.
I will watch it 8,000
I only know
more.
it, Jen, because of you, and I only watch it because of you. And I love the way his name's Duke, and in England that'd be Duke. And I don't know why. I just love it.
Yes, his name in the movie is Duke Orsino, which is a very common Southern California name for a teenager. Yes, but I mean, it is seamless. It is perfect. It is absolutely a stunning masterpiece. I will not hear otherwise. If you have not seen it, to our dear
but I
listeners,
enjoy it.
I've not watched it.
Oh, we should watch it.
We're gonna watch it.
We're gonna watch it after this, Jen. Let's watch it after this.
Yeah, we will.
Oh, I was gonna say save it and then I'll come over and we'll watch it together. We'll just watch it again when I'm with you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next clue. These two got together on the set of Alfie and got engaged, but broke up when he cheated on her with his kid's nanny.
It's Jude Law and Sienna Miller.
Yes. Oh, that was such a sad story. Okay.
I think he's a sad story.
Yeah.
It's just a serial cheat. If you're listening, Jude Law, we're on to you.
Just lost a listener.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what? Fine.
Yeah, we really alienated the Jew law heads in this group. Okay.
No, his fans are allowed.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. These two got together before they started filming their iconic teen drama together and were happily married and had 2 kids before they felt any, quote, cruel intentions and divorced.
Reese Witherspoon.
And Ryan Philippe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whose kids are like a carbon copy of them.
I know, it's mad.
I know. It's really wild.
And also, they were like 12 when they had them because they're so young looking still, the parents. I know they're not. But they're so young looking still, and the kids like 20.
I think she was younger than 25 when she'd had both of them. So I mean,
she wasn't actually 12. Like
no. But I mean, like if you have kids that young, like you are still gonna look. I mean, you're gonna look really young when your kids are grown up.
Well, also she's got a lot of money to look good.
Yeah, that's very true. Also, by the way, don't you think I could like write for like Closer or like Hello or like OK Magazine?
Well, they'll be listening. So
yeah, exactly. Honestly, this is my new second career. Okay. These two began an on-again, off-again relationship after making this movie, but did they ever meet each other's Mamma Mia? We'll never know.
Amanda Seyfried and Dominic West.
I was going to say Dominic Cummings.
Dominic is right. Do you know his last name?
Oh, it's not West. Hang on, I'll get it. Dominic, what's it begin with?
C.
Dominic. Cummings. It's not Cummings. That's a really horrific scandal. Don't Google it. You'll go down a wormhole.
Where do chickens live?
Cooper.
Yeah, there you go. All right, this one is actually too easy. I really made this one too easy. Let me give you the hard part first and see if you guys can figure it out, and then I'll give you the easy one. They actually met on Days of Thunder and made Far and Away together. One of my all-time favorites.
Men and Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I wrote He's a Top Gun, and I was like, that's stupid.
To be honest, Jen, that was the first thing I was thinking of. I'm thinking that for every single answer until I was proven wrong.
Well, they are in the pantheon of actors that did this. Yeah, exactly. Okay. These two starred in one of the biggest YA book-to-movie series of the aughts, but their love wasn't immortal after all. She cheated on him and they broke up in 2013 for good.
Rob Pattinson and Kristen Bell.
Dunst.
No.
Not Dunst.
It's not Bell.
Oh, sorry.
It's not Bell.
Oh.
Kristen...
I can't concentrate. I've sat with Mrs. Jenkins. These bloody gloves.
Kristen Stewart.
It's Kristen Stewart.
Yes,
yeah.
Kristen Stewart. Okay.
Honestly, they're so distracting.
Now, I remember when this story broke that she'd been, it was broken by the tabloids that she'd seen, and I was like, that story's clearly not going to be true. You're not going to cheat on.
But then the photo came out,
and then I was like, oh yeah.
Of her with a director, and now she's lesbian. So
Well, but the thing is, they literally were like making out in a car on a side of a road or something, and someone like saw them, and I was just like, wow, like, oh, okay, I guess we're making these choices here.
Well, now Robert Pattinson is going out with Suki Waterhouse, yes, whose dad's famous, but her famous ex is Bradley Cooper.
But who's her dad?
Mr. Waterhouse.
I'll remember. I'll look it up in a second. While Jen's doing her stuff, I'll tell you.
Okay. These two famously met on the set for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and their romance broke.
Hate him.
It's. I just need to say I'm Team Aniston here. It's Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Yes. I did make a pun for that related back to Call the Midwife, because I wrote, and their romance broke one heart instead of two. One of America's most famous friends.
He's a plastic surgeon. He's a famous plastic surgeon, but I've got two people mixed up. Carry on.
Oh, okay. It doesn't matter.
I was thinking of Dennis Waterman, but
yeah, he's also dead now.
Because remember Gerald says like, oh, we broke two hearts instead of one, like meaning his wife that he stayed with. Remember that? Okay. All right. Last one. Here we go. You guys are batting 1,000. Like you're getting 10 out of 10. I love it. You're doing so well.
Clear that we read our gossip.
Yeah, we just we've got a mind full of fantastic knowledge that really is, useful for life.
Well, can I just say I did some Googling to find this out, and like there were so many couples that were like literally all like both people in the couple were under 30, like well under 30 years old, and they were in shows I've never watched, never heard of, and I was just like, I was like, no, we're gonna need like the older millennial list. So can I like keep like I had to keep
all right.
Oh man, I felt so geriatric. I was just like, gee whiz. I'm like, you two were like 19. God break it. Okay. Okay. One of the most famous romantic movies, certainly of the last 20 years. These two met on set, but spent a lot of time taking notes before getting together almost a year after the movie's release.
It's a Notebook.
Yeah.
I'm going to confess I've never seen it.
You'd hate
You've
it.
never seen a Notebook?
You wouldn't. I don't think she'd like it.
I don't
think you'd like it either. But oh my god, I don't think I. Oh, that was.
I like Weekend at Bernie's, and she's the man. I just don't think Notebook.
I watched the Notebook on a flight from New York to Florida.
Well, who's in it?
And I sobbed, but I did really ugly crying on the plane. It's
Is it Ryan Reynolds or
no,
Gosling?
Got Ryan Gosling, and
I've no idea. I've never watched it.
she's in The Time Traveler's Wife, another film
never
you've
seen
not
that.
watched.
She's been in a lot of stuff. It's Rachel McAdams. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't have to. Yeah, you would know her. I don't know her whole resume. I can't remember. She's very famous, but yeah. Oh, and actually, this was interesting. So there were like little things about each couple when I was like clicking through again doing this Googling, and apparently they didn't like each other, or he specifically didn't really like her while they were making the movie, and then time passed. They like I guess had to see each other again for like press tour and all that kind of stuff like that, and then they got together like after that, and so. I don't know what changed. I mean, they certainly
trust that in a partner. I would not trust someone who did not see my brilliance straight away.
Oh man, I mean, I'll tell you what. I don't know what was going on, but they certainly seemed like they liked each other a very lot when they were in that movie together.
It well.
They're not together now, are they? Because
no.
Oh no, he's married to
he's with
Eva
Mendes. Yeah. Another incredibly gorgeous, beautiful, talented woman. So
reminds me of me, everyone.
Yeah, if you ever wonder what Alex looks like in real life, just picture Eva Mendes and then add a British accent and you'll be dead on.
That's actually a really good, yeah. I get it a lot. People thought I was here today at Sister Act when I was hacking me guts up at the back.
Oh, wait, you guys. This won't be as funny to our listeners because they don't know what I actually look like. But my mom and I were sitting around one time. We were talking about something because we were watching something where it was about a real person, but they were played by an actor, obviously like a very famous, good-looking actor. And the topic came up of like who would play us in movies, if they were going to tell the story of our lives. And I was like, well, who do you think would play me in a movie? And my mom goes, she goes, oh, you know what I think would be really good for you? Zoe Saldana. Now, listeners, just picture someone who does not look anything like Zoe Saldana at all.
Now, actually, on this, let's put this back to Call the Midwife, right?
Right.
If you could play any character in Call the Midwife,
yes.
Who would you play?
Haven't we done this before?
No. Who would you be?
No. Who would you be as like a real person?
But if you're playing one of them, who would you act as? Who would you want to do the acting of? I'd want to do something with one of the really rough mums having a fight. Yeah, but it's something I don't ever do in my normal life. Like, not often anyway. So, I just think that kind of acting would be really like, I mean, I'm not an actor, obviously.
I wouldn't want to be dealing with anything medical.
I wouldn't like to kiss on camera either. Ooh. So I'd definitely like to be a nun that stays chaste.
You know who I'd be? I'd be one of the extra nuns in Compline that's brought in.
Actually, oh my God, do you reckon they'd let us do that?
Oh yes. Oh my God, can you guys, we have to manifest that we get to be some of the extra nuns.
Now, actually, talking about manifestation, again, seamless link. This is what you get for free. I want to talk about the fact.
It free anymore,
Well, they are. They've still got a list. They're still listening to adverts for free. So we've added adverts to our podcast now, and you've probably noticed, and I'm really sorry for that, but at the same time, I'm not, because our plan is to bring Jenn over here. We want to do the Call the Midwife tour together and do a podcast on that.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, we're going to do it in 2028.
So
yeah, we may need to help boost ourselves with that. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, well, we're in talks about Patreon, so we'll look into that. But the point is, we want to bring Jenn over to the UK so we can actually all record together.
Yes.
I will say, I think it's gone really well recording together.
I'm a bit freaked out by the gloves, but
I think she's recording with Mrs. Jenkins.
Because you keep doing that song about the birds to me. Hero Zero, by the way, ladies.
Oh, we have to do Heroes and Zeros. Yes. Okay, so who wants to go first?
I've forgotten the whole episode now.
Mine's going to be ridiculous. Mine's Zero is going to be Tom for rifling through the post.
Well, that's a good one. It's more valid than mine.
Maybe it could be Trixie for her bridezilla attitude.
Well, you can have whichever you want. You can choose,
or both if you decide.
No, it's going to be Tom. You went too far.
Okay, and who's your hero?
My hero is going to be Charles Newgarden.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And no explanation needed. Right, Jenn, I'm going to go first, and you've got to actually think of one.
Think of it now.
My hero is going to be Sister Monica Joan again.
Yeah, we haven't meant.
Well, Sister Evangelina tried to leave quietly for surgery without anyone seeing it.
Oh, right.
And even though she was obviously quite concerned about it, and Sister Monica Joan didn't let her leave quietly, she saw her off, and she didn't see her off in a way that was ostentatious so that everyone got involved.
Yeah,
she saw her off in a really nice, kind way that was befitting of Sister Evangelina's departure. So I actually really appreciate it. It showed a real emotional intelligence by SMJ there, so I like that.
Yeah.
My zero this week is going to be honest, it's going to be Sister Evangelina, because she was really bad-tempered with Nurse Crane and everything, and then didn't tell. She was just really rude to Sister Winifred, and talking about it on the bus, and it's like, well, she's only trying to make conversation because you're being so bloody miserable.
Also, she was very unwelcoming to Nurse Crane. I just don't think that's the religious way.
Well, it happens all the time, doesn't it? Right, Jenn, your turn.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually flip the script a little bit. So I'm gonna actually give a gentle 0 to Nurse Crane, because I feel like there's a very great British saying which I love, which is begin as you mean to go on. And I think you shouldn't just waltz in there and be so brisk and be so, tough and everything else. I think she could have been a lot more friendly and diplomatic as she was kind of getting to know these women. So yeah, even though I love her so much, I'm going to give her a little 0 for her very brisk entrance. And at the end of the episode, she decided to stay on. So, now she's going to be part of the team. So
going to be in Nonnatus. Well, she's not. No.
Yeah, exactly. But still, honorary, because she's one of the midwives. And my hero is going to be Sister Julienne and Charles Newgarden and their love and their story, and especially the two actors, Jenny Agutter, and I apologize, I don't know the gentleman's name, but the guy who played Charles Newgarden, because seriously, they should both win awards for those performances. I just thought they were absolutely transcendent, absolutely beautiful. Love them so much. It just sparked so much in me when I watched them. Oh my God, I'm never gonna get over it. I just think they're so beautiful. And actually, I'm just gonna add this one little bit.
Oh, hang on one sec. His name's Nicholas Farrell.
Nicholas Farrell. Okay. One little bon mot. So I had done some Googling for some other thing, and I was reading this thing that Heidi Thomas had written about, or not written, she was giving an interview, and they were asked her about why do you think Call the Midwife works so well, and why do you think people love it? It's been on the air for so long. And she was like, well, the thing I think is actually really successful about the show is that, you can kind of plop down on a Sunday night and have like a really lovely, like just heartwarming show to watch. And it can work on that kind of higher level. She's like, but then if you want to think about it a little bit more, you want to think about the historical context, you want to think about, you know, kind of the time period that they're living in and the, you know, stuff like that. She's like, you know, it gives you the opportunity to dig a little bit deeper. She's like, and then if you like really, really want to go into it and think about, you know, the human drama, the struggle, the sacrifice, the joys, the sorrows, like, you know, all of the, you know, really, really deep conceptual things that we try to hit on every single week. She's like, you can also come to the show and like, you know, really get something from it on that level as well. And so she's like, I think there's a real magic in something that you can kind of literally take whatever you want from it, whatever level and whatever, you know, kind of amount of depth you want to plumb, because it has that much like variety. And this episode to me was like an absolute perfect encapsulation of that, because you could take it from literally 1 to 100. You'd never get bored anywhere on that spectrum. And there was something for every single part and parcel of what all of it had to offer. So I know this being really long-winded and everything, but I just...
Well, no, I agree. And I think that's most episodes, if I'm honest. I think they do it so well. They've got the humour, they've got the heart, they've got the horrific. And again, remember, this is all from that horrific book.
I know. Oh wait, do we want to answer that listener's question that we just heard about? That you just let us know that she had written in?
But we've only read the first book, so we don't know.
That's true.
So far. So
Lauren messaged in and she said that she's been listening to the audiobook and where Betty has a breech birth. And she noticed when they mentioned Dr. Turner, that he has a Dr. Turner, they talk about his wife and his children.
Yeah, children plural, not just Timothy Turner.
Yeah. And obviously she's saying she's confused because Sister Bernadette fictional? Well,
we don't know yet.
Well, I don't think they do end up together. From the first book, they definitely don't. From the first.
Sister Bernadette is not a fictional character. She's in the book as well, but they don't fall in love in the book. At least not.
But also, she says she loves listening to our podcast and she really likes Becky's laugh.
Oh, Lauren, so sweet. Do you
want to do a really forced laugh for her? I'm joking.
But if Sister Bernadette is a real character, that's quite a leap for the writers to take to then, like, if you're
but to be fair, I think that's but I thought about this. I think that's quite a normal leap to take. Like, I think that's quite a Sunday night drama kind of thing, like Forbidden Love and that kind of thing. I don't think that's too much of a stretch, because I feel like that's quite normal in TV land.
Yeah, and I was also about to say, if you're Sister Bernadette's grandchildren,
you're not going to be. Her name and legacy died with her. And on that note, ladies,
yes, we will leave it there. We've gone quite well on,
But yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Yes,
follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, everything, Facebook. We've got a Facebook group on there. Give us a subscribe, like, follow us. Thank you so much for listening, and we shall see you next week for Series 4, Episode 3.
Yeah, sounds good.
See you next week.
Bye.